After his pod crashes to Earth, instead of being found by Grandpa Gohan, young Kakarot is recovered by the remnants of the Red Ribbon Army. Dr. Gero sees potential, not in destroying the boy, but in shaping him into the ultimate weapon. Trained with cybernetic enhancements, mind control conditioning, and years of brutal missions, Kakarot grows into Project Zero, a ruthless enforcer of the Red Ribbon Empire. The innocence of Goku is gone. What remains is cold, calculated power. During a battle with the real Z fighters, something awakens in Goku. Memories of another life, echoes of innocence. The bonds of mind control start to crack, and a new inner conflict ignites. Will Goku continue as a weapon, or fight for his freedom? As Goku finally breaks free, he turns on Dr. Gero and the very army that raised him. But the Red Ribbon Army anticipated betrayal, activating Project Omega, a monstrous android designed specifically to eliminate Goku. Earth faces its deadliest civil war yet. What if Vegeta never left Frieza's army? On Namek, Vegeta's heart faltered. But what if it didn't? What if the Prince of Science never turned his back on the tyrant who destroyed his world? Instead of rebellion, Vegeta doubled down. He led the extermination of Namekians. Not as a pawn, but as Frieza's champion. Frieza sent him to Earth, not to find Dragon Balls, but to conquer. And this time, no Goku came to stop him. And so, Vegeta built an empire, not of justice, but of fear. The Saiyan Prince became a galactic king, loyal only to Frieza. Or so it seemed. What if Gohan stayed Super Saiyan 2 after Cell Saga? Gohan unlocked a power that shook the heavens. But what if he never let it go? What if the boy who defeated Cell never stopped fighting? Without Goku's restraint, Gohan pushed harder. He trained every day, balancing books and battle. By the time Buu appeared, Gohan was a storm. When Majin Buu awoke, he didn't face Goku or Vegeta. He faced the wrath of a warrior who never forgot what was lost. Gohan didn't need AZ's sword. He didn't need Elder Kai. He became Earth's true guardian, not with destiny, but with discipline. What if Frieza was reborn as a Saiyan? What if the most ruthless tyrant in the universe was given a second chance? Not as a ruler, but as a Saiyan baby, crying under the same red sky as Goku. Growing up under King Vegeta's rule, Frieza was no longer a god, but a prodigy. He clashed with Prince Vegeta from day one, a battle of pride and pure instinct. Years passed, and then it happened. Frieza, reborn, unlocked Super Saiyan, but with a wrath never seen before. With Vegeta beside him and the Saiyan race reborn, Frieza chose not conquest, but redemption. The villain of the past became the protector of tomorrow. What if Broly landed on Earth instead of Goku? He was meant to be a weapon, not a child. But fate sent Broly to Earth, alone, lost, and destined to be raised by humans. Gohan didn't find Kakarot. He found something far more dangerous. But Broly was just a boy, and he called him Grandpa. Broly's power couldn't be hidden forever. A moment of anger, and the world trembled. Master Roshi saw the truth. This boy wasn't evil, just lost. With guidance, Broly became Earth's mightiest protector and its quietest soul. When the Saiyans arrived, they expected conquest. But instead, they met a legend. Broly, the Saiyan who chose peace. What if Goten was born with God Ki? He was born in silence, but his ki roared like the gods. Goku's second son came into the world unlike any Saiyan before him, glowing with divine energy. He never trained like Gohan. He didn't need to. Even as a child, Goten's power echoed across the mountains. But God Ki is no gift, it's a burden. As Goten grew, he began seeing things, feeling the presence of gods. And someone was watching him. Whis came first, not for Goku, but for Goten. He offered training not to a warrior, but to a chosen one. In a universe of mortals, one child was born divine. And when evil rises, Goten won't fight as a warrior, he'll rise as a god. What if Vegeta was sent to Namek instead of Gohan and Krillin? What if Goku had made a different call? What if, instead of trusting Gohan and Krillin, he sent Vegeta to Namek to stop Frieza? Namek was quiet, until Vegeta arrived. Without allies, without limits, he began his own war. Instead of searching for Dragon Balls, he hunted Frieza's soldiers. One by one, the Ginyu Force fell, not to strategy, but to fury. Frieza underestimated Gohan. He never underestimated Vegeta. But this Vegeta was beyond Frieza's calculations. Without Goku, without mercy, it came down to Vegeta versus Frieza. The tyrant versus the prince. No backup. No Dragon Balls. Just rage. What if Frieza was reborn as a Saiyan? He was the galaxy's most feared tyrant, until death claimed him. But death is never the end, not for someone like Frieza. Reborn as a Saiyan, Frieza was no ordinary warrior. Even as a child, his power eclipsed the elites, and his ambition knew no limits. He didn't rise through ranks. He crushed them. King Vegeta saw the threat too late. By the time he acted, his throne was already gone. No longer the destroyer of Saiyans. He now was the Saiyan legacy, reborn, redefined, and terrifying. What if Goku was born as a god of destruction? In another universe, he wasn't sent to Earth. He wasn't even born immortal. He was born as a god of destruction, and the cosmos trembled. He didn't learn to fight. He knew how. The god ki pulsed through his veins from birth, and with every second, his power evolved. Whis watched in awe. Beerus trembled. And the other gods? They feared what he would become. Given the power to erase worlds, Goku made a different choice. To challenge the gods themselves, and remake the multiverse with strength and mercy. What if Cell absorbed Frieza and Cooler? Frieza thought he could control Cell. Cooler thought he could surpass both. But Cell had a different plan. They underestimated his hunger. In one swift strike, Cell turned on them both. Their screams echoed through the stars, then vanished. He became something else. Golden tail, purple eyes, voices of tyrants fused into one. Perfect and unstoppable. Not even Goku's Ultra Instinct was enough. Every punch, every blast, Cell absorbed and evolved. Until one last Kamehameha changed everything. What if Gohan was trained by Whis since childhood? What if fate twisted its path? What if, on a quiet day in the mountains, Whis appeared before the Sun family and offered to train the young half-Saiyan? Gohan's childhood was no longer filled with books, but with galaxies. Whis took him to the realm of the gods. There, he would learn power, control, and peace. The Saiyans came. Frieza came. But this time, the Earth had a guardian trained by an angel. Gohan's presence alone shifted destiny. With Whis watching from afar, Gohan becomes more than a warrior. He becomes a symbol. Neither Saiyan nor God, but something beyond both. What if Goten was the legendary Super Saiyan? He was always cheerful, gentle, and innocent. But deep inside, Goten hid something ancient. Something terrifying. Something legendary. During a simple training session with Gohan, it happened. His energy exploded, not golden, but emerald. He didn't speak. He roared. Even Vegeta paused. Even Goku hesitated. Goten was no longer a child. He was the myth reborn, and no one knew if he could control it. The world looked to Goten with awe and fear. Would he be a savior or a destroyer? Only time, and the Saiyan spirit, would decide. What if Krillin was the legendary Super Saiyan? In a twist of fate, it wasn't Broly. It wasn't Vegeta. It was Krillin, the weakest of them, who awakened the power of the legendary Super Saiyan. Krillin's mind buckled under the weight of the form. He couldn't think. He couldn't stop. Every friend looked like a threat. Cities fell. Oceans boiled. The earth cried out as the smallest warrior became its destroyer. To save the world, Goku had to stop his best friend, even if it meant killing him. What if Android 18 turned against Drive Zero? She was built to destroy. But even machines can feel fear, doubt, and choice. Android 18 awoke, not as a servant, but as a storm. She didn't want to kill. She didn't want to obey. So she rewrote her own fate, line by line, against her creator. She ran, not from fear, but from war. The Red Ribbon Army wanted their weapon back, but she had already become something more. In the ruins of the future, she found purpose. She fought, not for orders, but for justice. Android 18 became the hero she was never meant to be. What if Frieza was recruited by Beerus? Destruction craves talent, even if it's evil. When Beerus saw Frieza's cruelty, he didn't destroy him. He made him an offer. Frieza accepted, not out of loyalty, but ambition. And under Whis' guidance, he didn't just grow stronger, he evolved. With godly power in his hands, Frieza's conquest changed. He no longer ruled by fear. He ruled by divine right. But power awakens resistance. The Scions, once broken, rise again, not to survive, but to challenge a god. What if Videl was a Scion? Her father was a world champion, but her bloodline hid something far greater. Videl's true heritage was Scion. When she trained with Gohan, something awakened. Not just strength, but instinct. And then, the transformation came. With Scion pride in her heart and Earth in her soul, Videl became more than a fighter. She became a symbol of justice. The next generation of Scions was no longer just about bloodlines. It was about heart, courage, and choice. What if Raditz turned good after meeting Gohan? He came to conquer Earth, but found something else. In Gohan's eyes, Raditz saw not weakness, but purity. And for the first time, he hesitated. He spared the boy. He left the battle. Vegeta called him weak. Nappa demanded blood. But Raditz chose family. With Piccolo's rage and Goku's hope, Raditz trained. Every punch was a step away from his past. Every moment, closer to redemption. When Vegeta returned to destroy Earth, he met something unexpected. Raditz didn't kneel. He stood with Goku, not as a soldier, but as a brother. What if Android 16 survived and joined the Z Fighters? He was built to destroy Goku, but he loved nature instead. Android 16 was more than a machine. And when Cell crushed him, something broke, but not everything. Bulma found the pieces. Gohan asked for a chance. With rebuilt parts and a new heart, Android 16 rose. Not for revenge, but to protect. In battle against new threats, Android 16 became Earth's silent guardian. He didn't speak much, but when he moved, enemies trembled. This machine had a soul. Though built for destruction, Android 16 chose life. He fought not for glory, but for harmony. In his silence was wisdom. In his power, peace. What if Majin Vegeta defeated Goku? Their fists shook the heavens. But this time, Vegeta didn't hold back. Fueled by pride, pain, and Babbidi's dark magic, Majin Vegeta struck the final blow. Goku was gone. The light of Earth dimmed. Vegeta stood victorious, but hollow. There was no one left to surpass. Without Goku, Bu awakened unchecked. Even Vegeta's might couldn't stop the monster alone. Pride had won, but Earth lost. Majin Vegeta, now Earth's last line of defense, had to make a choice. Fall deeper into darkness, or rise alone, and become the savior Goku once was. What if Pan became a Super Saiyan god? She was born with the blood of warriors, Scion and human. But no one expected Pan to become a god. Under Whis' tutelage, she trained among the gods. Where her ancestors stopped, she soared higher. When chaos struck the universe, it wasn't Goku or Vegeta. It was Pan, the Red Goddess, who stood against extinction. She didn't inherit the world, she reshaped it. Pan, the first female Super Saiyan god. Not just Goku's legacy, but her own legend. What if the Dragon Balls disappeared forever? The Dragon Balls vanished. Not stolen, not hidden, simply gone. And with them, every second chance humanity had. Without the Dragon Balls, the dead stayed dead. Cities destroyed remained dust. Regret, permanent. Hope, endangered. With Earth vulnerable, a new evil emerged. No gods, no wishes, only warriors, fighting with everything they had left. Perhaps we relied on the Dragon Balls too long. Now, Earth must learn to live without miracles. What if Goten was the reincarnation of Yamoshi? Since birth, Goten had always been different. Calm, mysterious, powerful, but none knew. The spirit of the first Super Saiyan god stirred within him. Visions plagued his dreams, battles in ancient times, warriors with divine fire, the final stand of Yamoshi. The boy Goten was beginning to remember a life that wasn't his. Beerus stirred. Whis raised an eyebrow. Even Xeno's guardians paused. The rebirth of a forgotten god could shake the balance of all realities. Goten's power erupted, not as a Super Saiyan, but as something more. The red flames of a god, the legacy of Yamoshi, and the universe would never be the same. What if Cell absorbed Frieza instead of androids? In another timeline, Cell realized something chilling. The androids weren't the only source of power. Beyond Earth, a tyrant existed, far stronger, far more vicious. So he changed his mission. Frieza laughed when Cell arrived. But the laughter died quickly. Cell didn't ask. He attacked. The battle shook planets. With Frisia's DNA absorbed, Cell became something terrifying. A being with no limits. No mercy. He didn't evolve, he ascended. Earth's heroes stood no chance. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan. They fell, one by one, against an enemy reborn from evil itself. What if Cell absorbed Frisia instead of androids? In another timeline, Cell awakened in a galaxy not with android 17 or 18, but with a different prey in mind, one known across the stars. Frisia. When Cell found Frisia, it wasn't a fight. It was an ambush. And with one scream, the tyrant of the galaxy became part of something far worse. Cell didn't just gain power. He gained cruelty, strategy, empire. Now, perfect Cell bore a twisted crown and a thirst for domination. Earth was next. But this time, Cell didn't come to test his strength. He came to conquer. What if Goku was born with God Ki? Before he was a warrior, before he was a scion, Goku was something else entirely. Born with the power of the gods, the universe trembled the moment he cried for the first time. Frisia watched from afar. A new energy, too pure, too dangerous. He ordered planet Vegeta's destruction, earlier than in the original timeline. Jine and Bardock sensed destiny. They launched baby Goku toward Earth, not to survive, but to awaken. And Earth would never be the same again. Grandpa Gohan didn't just raise a child. He raised a god in hiding. Goku's training awakened flashes of godly instinct, and the heavens took notice. When Raditz came, Goku didn't just resist, he ascended. His aura split the sky. The Scion warrior had become a living god, and the gods weren't ready for him. What if Gohan never stopped training after Cell? After defeating Cell, Gohan stood at the edge of greatness. But in this timeline, he never let go of it. He trained. He evolved. He became Earth's strongest guardian. Without distractions, Gohan's power grew beyond even Goku's. He unlocked forms no one had ever seen. Gods took notice and feared what he might become. When the gods challenged him, Gohan didn't back down. He stood tall, for Earth, for his father's legacy, and for the future he chose to shape with his own fists. Gohan became more than a warrior. He became a myth. The boy who once hesitated now shines as the symbol of limitless potential. What if Goten was trained by future Trunks instead of Goku? In a timeline where hope flickers like a dying flame, one warrior returns not to fight, but to teach. Future Trunks has come, for Goten. Training under Goku was filled with laughter. But with Trunks, every blow carried the weight of lost lives, and a future that must never repeat. Power isn't enough. Strategy, restraint, pain, Goten learns it all. And then, one day, he surpasses even the echo of his father. When a threat emerges unlike any before, Earth's hope is no longer a scion raised by joy, but a warrior forged by sorrow. Goten is ready. What if Piccolo became the next god of destruction? When Universe 7's god of destruction seeks a successor, Beerus turns his attention not to science, but to a Namekian with clarity and control. Piccolo, chosen for balance, not power. Power alone cannot rule destruction. Whis subjects Piccolo to divine tests, not just strength, but judgment, mercy, and the terrifying burden of erasure. Could a warrior of peace wield the power to destroy? As Piccolo watches a corrupt planet, he faces a choice that will define the cosmos and himself. A new god of destruction rises, not in anger, but in wisdom. And from the silence of Namek to the edge of time, the multiverse trembles. What if Piccolo became the next god of destruction? When Universe 7's god of destruction seeks a successor, Beerus turns his attention not to science, but to a Namekian with clarity and control. Piccolo, chosen for balance, not power. Power alone cannot rule destruction. Whis subjects Piccolo to divine tests, not just strength, but judgment, mercy, and the terrifying burden of erasure. Could a warrior of peace wield the power to destroy? As Piccolo watches a corrupt planet, he faces a choice that will define the cosmos and himself. A new god of destruction rises, not in anger, but in wisdom. And from the silence of Namek to the edge of time, the multiverse trembles. What if Vegeta was sent to Universe 6 as a baby? In a moment of desperation during the fall of planet Vegeta, King Vegeta makes a drastic choice. He sends baby Prince Vegeta through a secret wormhole to Universe 6. Discovered by the scions of Universe 6, the child is raised by a peaceful warrior clan. No Frieza, no planet trade, only honor, training, and unity. Years later, the tournament of destroyers begins. Two Vegetas meet, one forged in rage, one forged in calm. Both unstoppable. In the final moment, Universe 6 Vegeta offers peace. Main timeline Vegeta must choose. Fight to prove dominance, or embrace a version of himself that never knew hate. What if Kami fused with Goku instead of Piccolo? When the android threat loomed, Kami saw only one chance for balance. He would merge, not with Piccolo, but with the one who defied destiny. Goku. The fusion birthed something new, not just power, but purpose. A warrior with divine insight. A god who could punch. With divine foresight and mortal fury, the fused Goku faced Cell. No teleporting. No distractions. Only precision and justice. When the final blast came, Goku didn't need to die. He channeled divine harmony, absorbing the attack into light. For the first time, peace was enough. What if Goten became the successor of Beerus? Beerus dreamed of a successor, someone with potential, yet untapped. But it wasn't Goku. It wasn't Vegeta. It was the boy, the cheerful one. Goten. Whis takes Goten to the world of the gods. No longer the laughing child. He's pushed beyond limits. Calm mind. Fear strikes. The making of a destroyer. He returns, different. Power that hums. Aura that bends gravity. Earth doesn't recognize him, but threats do. When a rogue god appears, Goten must choose. Justice or annihilation. His heart fights his title. But Beerus watches to see if he's worthy. What if Chi-Chi was a scion? She always seemed fierce, but no one knew why. Until the day the truth came out. Chi-Chi was scion-born. Suppressed for years, her power now awakened. Rage, pride, strength. Not a housewife, a warrior queen. Training now means survival. Chi-Chi challenges Goku, not out of hate, but to prove her place. A battle not of strength, but of love. She was never in Goku's shadow. She was a fire waiting to burn. And now, the universe will learn the name Chi-Chi, warrior of earth and scion blood. What if Goku and Vegeta fused at birth? What if destiny was rewritten before it began? Two rival bloodlines, forced into one. A secret scion experiment and a fusion like no other. He wasn't Kakarot. He wasn't Vegeta. He was something new, someone unstoppable. They named him Vegeta, the scion singularity. With power beyond comprehension, Vegeta outgrew teachers, allies, and even gods. But power without balance becomes destruction. He stood alone, unmatched, and dangerously unbound. When you're born to be everything, you risk becoming nothing. Vegeta must now decide, rewrite the universe, or save what's left. A god's choice, born of a fusion never meant to be. What if Goten turned evil after Goku's death? Goku's final sacrifice saved the world, but shattered his youngest son. Left behind and forgotten, Goten's heart twisted in silence. Without guidance, pain became his teacher. Goten trained alone, not for justice, but vengeance. His new name, Goten Black. Trunks begged his best friend to stop, but Goten saw only betrayal. One by one, he hunted the Z-Fighters, unleashing darkness Goku never imagined. Only one voice could pierce his rage, a final message from beyond. Goku's spirit returns, not to fight, but to forgive. Will Goten break free, or fall forever? What if Goku was raised by the Red Ribbon Army? When Grandpa Gohan never found him, fate stepped in. The Red Ribbon Army discovered the baby from space and rewrote history. Goku was trained to obey, to conquer, to destroy. No love, no friends, only orders. They called him Project Zero. When the Red Ribbon Army launched their campaign, Earth's defenders were ready, but not for him. Piccolo, Rashi, even Gohan. They all fell to the one they once called friend. But deep within the perfect soldier, something stirred. A memory, a name. Kakarot, whispered from the stars. Could he reclaim his true self before it's too late? What if Goku never hit his head? The Scion awakens. He arrived on Earth, not as a lost child, but as a conqueror. Without the head injury, Kakarot remembered everything. Earth under siege. With no Gohan to raise him, and no kindness to change him. Kakarot grew savage, merciless. Scion through and through. Earth's destruction? Only a matter of time. The first resistance. But the Earth had its defenders. Bulma, Yamchu, Tien, even young Krillin united to stop him. Their power was weak, but their spirit, unbreakable. The Scion choice. A voice echoed within him, not from his Scion blood, but from his soul. The question, am I a conqueror, or something more? What if Frieza was trained by Whis? A proposal from the Destroyer. After his defeat by Goku, Frieza was humiliated, but not broken. He sought not just power, but divinity. And Whis, ever curious, accepted the challenge. The god of tyranny rises. Whis taught him patience, control, and the flow of God Ki. And Frieza mastered it. In months, he surpassed mortal limits. In a year, he rivaled gods. Goku and Vegeta overwhelmed. When Frieza returned, Goku and Vegeta sensed something wrong. This wasn't the tyrant they knew. This was something far beyond. The battle of gods and monsters. The earth shook as gods clashed. Whis watched silently, the outcome no longer certain. And Frieza laughed. Gohan, the peaceful scholar, held immense latent power. But Babidi saw in him not just strength, but vulnerability. One whisper, and the Majin mark was born. Gone was the calm protector. Majin Gohan had no mercy, no hesitation. His hidden fury, now fully unshackled. Goku begged him to remember. But the Majin seal burned deeper. Their clash shook dimensions, love versus corruption. Just before the final blow, Goten's voice reached his brother's heart, and the Majin shattered. Beerus, after eons of destruction, had grown tired. And in Goku, he saw something new, power tempered by compassion. The mantle of a god, passed to a mortal. Some cheered, some feared. A mortal wielding divine power shook the balance of the multiverse. But Goku remained Goku. Unlike Beerus, Goku sought out the strong, not to destroy them, but to test their hearts. Those who abused power vanished in a flash. Dad, are you still you? Gohan's voice trembled, and Goku smiled. Power doesn't change who I am, only what I must protect. Whis saw potential in the most unlikely of beings, Frieza, a mind as sharp as his ambition, and a thirst not just for power, but for perfection. Months passed. Frieza meditated, fought, learned to move without thought, and then it awakened. Silver eyes, ultra instinct, wielded by a tyrant. When Goku heard, he came. The universe watched as two wielders of ultra instinct faced each other, one pure, one dark. Perfection versus perfection. Whis smiled as the dust settled. Perfection, he whispered, is not just in power, but in restraint. Frieza's choice would decide the fate of galaxies. A new hero rises in the timeline. Not Goku, not Gohan, but his youngest son, Goten. Trained by the Time Patrollers, Goten now defends the very fabric of time itself. Goten had never seen anything like this before. Time itself was breaking, timelines unraveling, chaos reigning. His first mission? Stop a corrupted version of Trunks from altering history forever. Goten's training had prepared him, but the fight was unlike any other. Battling not just for victory, but to preserve the flow of time itself. As the battle raged on, Goten's true potential began to awaken. Victory came, but at a cost. The timeline was saved, but Goten's heart was torn. To preserve the future, he would have to let go of his family, his world. Imagine a world where Goku didn't grow up alone. A world where the Scion warrior wasn't just the only hope for Earth. For alongside him, his twin brother, Kakarot, was destined to change everything. From the very beginning, they were destined for greatness, but in different ways. While Goku embraced Earth's kindness and warmth, Kakarot's heart burned with the desire to conquer. Their paths were set, yet they would soon collide. The clash of their destinies was inevitable. When the two brothers first crossed paths with the ruthless Frieza, the world would never be the same. Two Scions, each with different ambitions, now fighting side by side. The brothers' fates diverge further. As Kakarot's lust for power grows, Goku strives to protect Earth, leading to a final, fateful confrontation. Would family ties bind them, or would the thirst for power tear them apart? Before Goku, there was another scion. A prince, born to conquer, but destined to crash land in a world far different from his own. Vegeta's journey began not with the destruction of planets, but with the potential for an entirely new fate. Raised not by a tyrant, but by Earth's kindness. Vegeta's heart was shaped by the bonds of family and friends, his ruthless nature tempered by compassion. Could he still become the legendary warrior he was meant to be? But the past is never truly erased. As the Scion race's darkest forces awaken, Vegeta must face his origins, his destiny. The Earth that raised him may soon be the one he has to defend. Vegeta was not born to protect, but his love for his adopted home has changed him. Now, as the leader of the Z-Fighters, he must face the invaders who once shared his blood. Will his Scion pride stand against the destruction of Earth, or will he return to his royal roots? What if the most iconic transformation in the history of Dragon Ball never happened? Goku's fight against Frieza was legendary, but what if he never unlocked the power of the Super Saiyan? Would the universe have been saved, or would darkness reign? Without the power of the Super Saiyan, Goku's fight against Frieza becomes even more desperate. The fight drags on, Goku's energy fading, and Frieza's cruelty becomes even more intense. How much longer can he last? Without Goku's transformation, the Z-Fighters are forced to step in. But without his power, can they defeat Frieza, or will they be crushed under the weight of his tyranny? A world without Super Saiyan might mean the end of Earth itself. Goku's greatest strength wasn't his power, it was his will to protect his loved ones. Without Super Saiyan, can he still find a way to defeat Frieza, or will he make the ultimate sacrifice? What if Goku had never left Earth? What if, instead of training in distant worlds, he chose to stay home and live a peaceful life with his friends and family? How would the world have changed without the Scion warrior who protected it? While Goku chooses a peaceful life, the universe has its own plans. Without Goku's training and power, new threats emerge, stronger than ever before. The Earth must face these challenges without its greatest protector. Without Goku, the Z-Fighters are forced to step up. Vegeta leads the charge, but is it enough to protect Earth from forces beyond their strength? The fate of the planet lies in the hands of those who have never faced such a challenge before. As the situation grows dire, Goku finally returns to Earth, but is it too late? The Z-Fighters have fought bravely, but they are on the verge of defeat. Goku must decide whether he can overcome his peaceful life and rise as the warrior Earth desperately needs. What if Frieza, the universe's most feared tyrant, was raised as a Scion? What if he had known the love of a family, the training of the Scion elite, and the pride of a warrior race? How would the galaxy have changed with an entirely different Frieza? Raised with the brutal training of the Scions, Frieza grows into a powerful fighter. His abilities surpass even those of the most elite warriors, but his heart remains different. He's not driven by fear or power, but by something more, pride. Frieza rises to power not as a ruthless tyrant, but as a leader of the Scion race. Under his rule, the Scions thrive. He conquers planets not for personal gain, but to unite the galaxy under Scion dominance. But even with his newfound sense of purpose, Frieza's ambition still drives him toward a dangerous path. Frieza's reign, while prosperous, sparks a conflict between races. The other species of the galaxy, threatened by the power of the Scions, begin to rise against him. The peaceful universe is now on the brink of war, and Frieza, the once tyrant, must now face an even greater challenge. As Frieza's power grows, so does his sense of pride. But this pride blinds him. A betrayal from within his own ranks shakes the Scion Empire to its core. Now, Frieza must fight not only the galaxy, but his own blood, his fellow Scions. Imagine a Goku born not on planet Vegeta, but on planet Namek. A Scion raised by Namekians, with the peaceful ways of their people. How would this change the fate of the universe? How would the Z-Fighters be different? Goku grows up on Namek, raised in the tranquility of its forests and rivers. The Namekians teach him their ways, wisdom, kindness, and balance. Without the trauma of planet Vegeta's destruction, Goku's heart is filled with peace. But even on Namek, he can't escape his Scion blood. Despite the peaceful life Goku has, his past catches up with him. The tyrant Frieza, fearing the power of the Scions, learns of Goku's existence on Namek. He arrives to destroy the planet. unaware of the warrior the Namekians have raised. Goku faces Frieza for the first time, but this is not the battle of a powerless child. Raised by the Namekians, Goku's power is controlled and precise. He uses his Saiyan strength with the discipline of Namekian training. It's a clash of ideals, not just power. After the battle with Frieza, Goku doesn't destroy Namek. Instead, he leads the Namekians in defending their planet and their way of life. With his Saiyan blood and Namekian wisdom, Goku becomes the protector of the universe, keeping peace in a way no one could have imagined. What if Vegeta, the proud prince of the Saiyan race, was raised not by the ruthless King Vegeta, but by the kind-hearted Goku? Would he still carry the same arrogance, or would he become a different warrior altogether? Under Goku's guidance, Vegeta grows up differently. Goku's training isn't about domination, it's about growth, balance, and using power to protect. Vegeta learns the value of camaraderie, friendship, and the strength that comes from working together. Without the overwhelming pressure of his royal bloodline, Vegeta's rivalry with Goku takes a new turn. Instead of despising Goku, Vegeta sees him as a mentor and a friend. Together, they push each other to greater heights, rivals, but in the purest sense of the word. As Vegeta matures, he begins to understand the true meaning of family. His bond with Goku, his adopted father, and Goku's family becomes his new purpose. The idea of strength being used to protect, not conquer, becomes his guiding principle. With Goku's influence, Vegeta leads the Saiyans into a new era of peace and prosperity. Instead of destruction, the Saiyans now fight to defend the innocent. The legacy of the Saiyan race changes forever, and Vegeta's role as their protector becomes legendary. Without Goku's arrival, planet Vegeta's fate would have remained in the hands of its tyrannical ruler, King Vegeta. The Saiyans were destined for war, but would they have fallen as easily under Frieza's reign? Or could Goku's absence change everything? With Goku never arriving on Earth, the power dynamics of the Saiyan race are altered. King Vegeta, unable to challenge Frieza's might, leads his people to their tragic end. Without Goku, there is no Super Saiyan to rise up against the tyrant. Planet Vegeta's destruction is inevitable. With the Saiyan race wiped out, Earth remains untouched by their threat. Yet, without Goku's legacy, Earth's fighters never reach the heights of power they once did. The Z fighters are left to defend Earth, but their power pales in comparison to the cosmic threats that loom. Frieza's empire spreads, unchecked by any resistance. Without Goku to challenge him, the tyrant becomes even more powerful, and the universe trembles under his iron fist. The hope for a rebellion is all but lost. But as all hope seems lost, a new warrior emerges. Trained by the surviving Saiyans, Goku's brother, Raditz, rises as a beacon of resistance. Will he be able to face Frieza and avenge his people? Or is he simply another pawn in the tyrant's game? See Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, always carried the burden of pride. What if, in the heat of battle, he unlocked the power of Super Saiyan before Goku? Would this change the course of the Saiyan rebellion? Would Vegeta's ambition lead him to save or destroy the universe? Vegeta, unable to hold back his rage, finally reaches the threshold of Super Saiyan. The golden aura of transformation erupts around him, and the very ground beneath him trembles. He's no longer just a Saiyan prince. He's the new harbinger of power. With his newfound strength, Vegeta confronts Frieza with unmatched confidence. The battle between them is fierce, the two of them clashing with the universe watching. Could the Saiyan prince be the one to end Frieza's reign of terror? Vegeta's power grows, but with it, his pride and arrogance begin to cloud his judgment. As he becomes more consumed by the desire for power, he faces a decision. Does he fight for justice, or does his ambition push him into the darkness of a tyrant? Vegeta's victory over Frieza is followed by a choice: to rule the universe as its mightiest king or to defend it. With Goku's absence, the Z fighters are left to wonder. Can Vegeta be the protector they need, or will he become another tyrant in a galaxy filled with power? See Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, always carried the burden of pride. What if, in the heat of battle, he unlocked the power of Super Saiyan before Goku? Would this change the course of the Saiyan rebellion? Would Vegeta's ambition lead him to save or destroy the universe? Vegeta, unable to hold back his rage, finally reaches the threshold of Super Saiyan. The golden aura of transformation erupts around him, and the very ground beneath him trembles. He's no longer just a Saiyan prince. He's the new harbinger of power. With his newfound strength, Vegeta confronts Frieza with unmatched confidence. The battle between them is fierce, the two of them clashing with the universe watching. Could the Saiyan Prince be the one to end Frieza's reign of terror? Vegeta's power grows, but with it, his pride and arrogance begin to cloud his judgment. As he becomes more consumed by the desire for power, he faces a decision. Does he fight for justice, or does his ambition push him into the darkness of a tyrant? Vegeta's victory over Frieza is followed by a choice: to rule the universe as its mightiest king or to defend it. With Goku's absence, the Z fighters are left to wonder. Can Vegeta be the protector they need, or will he become another tyrant in a galaxy filled with power? What if Vegeta, the ruthless Saiyan Prince, joined the Z fighters before Goku and the others ever encountered the androids? What if his pride was humbled and he chose Earth's side far earlier than we ever expected? Vegeta was always one of the most powerful warriors in the universe. But with his pride shattered and a new alliance with Earth's defenders, he is about to face the androids much earlier than in the original timeline. With Vegeta now fighting alongside them, the Z fighters are stronger than ever. No longer does Goku fight alone. Vegeta's power and pride might finally come to serve Earth's defense. The time has come. With Vegeta by their side, the Z fighters stand united against the androids. But how will their combined strength change the tide of battle? Will they defeat the androids before the Earth is destroyed? With the androids defeated far earlier, the future is forever changed. But what will this mean for the Z fighters and for the universe? With Vegeta among their ranks, will they face even greater threats, or will they remain Earth's unchallenged protectors? Goku's sacrifice was meant to be the ultimate test of his strength. But what if, this time, it wasn't just about saving the world? What if Goku stayed dead, and the world had to move on without him? With Goku's death, the Z fighters are left in despair. They know the threat of the powerful enemies still looms, but without their strongest member, can they survive? Without Goku's guidance, the Z fighters must look within themselves. Vegeta steps up, Piccolo leads the charge, and even Gohan trains harder than ever. New heroes are born out of necessity, but will they be enough? The new threat approaches. With the world's defenders weakened without Goku, a new enemy emerges, even more dangerous than anything they've faced before. Can the Z fighters rise to the occasion, or will they be crushed under the weight of their own doubts? With Goku still gone, the Z fighters now fight not for one man, but for the world itself. As they face impossible odds, they realize that Goku's legacy lives on through them, in the courage they have to continue, in the strength they've gained, and in the family they've become. Instead of crashing on Earth, Goku is taken in by the most powerful being in all the universes, the King of all. Raised in the Divine Palace, Goku's potential is nurtured from the very beginning. But how will the universe react to this new force of nature? Under the King of all's guidance, Goku learns the true extent of his powers. The martial arts are no longer just for combat. They are the key to understanding the very fabric of existence itself. As Goku grows, so does his power. The King of all reveals to him the true depths of his potential, unlocking abilities no mortal has ever seen. But with great power comes great responsibility. Will Goku be able to control this force, or will it consume him? Goku's rise does not go unnoticed. The gods of the multiverse feel the stirrings of a new force. Some are intrigued, others are threatened. The balance of power in the universe is about to shift. As Goku's power reaches its peak, a new threat emerges. A being who has watched over the multiverse for eons, now seeking to control Goku's power for their own gain. Will Goku be able to protect the universe, or will his strength become a weapon against all he loves? In the end, Goku is not just a force of nature. He is a protector, a symbol of hope for the multiverse. His power is not meant to dominate, but to preserve. And in the balance between destruction and creation, Goku will leave a legacy that echoes across the cosmos. Vegeta, the proud prince of the Saiyan race, was always known for his fierce pride and determination. But what if he was born with powers far beyond any scion before him? What if from birth, Vegeta was the strongest warrior in the universe? From the moment Vegeta takes his first breath, it's clear that his power is beyond anything the Scions have ever seen. His potential is limitless. As he grows, his training becomes a formality. No one can challenge him. Despite being the strongest, Vegeta's prideful nature creates tension with his father, King Vegeta. The older Scion King sees his son's potential as both a blessing and a threat. Their relationship is strained, but Vegeta's determination to prove himself never falters. With his unmatched strength, Vegeta challenges the greatest fighters in the universe. His pride makes him unstoppable until he faces a new enemy, the Z fighters, who unite to stand against him. Will Vegeta's overwhelming power be his greatest asset, or will it be his undoing? Vegeta's journey is not just about power. It's about understanding what it means to be the strongest. As he faces challenges from both allies and enemies, he is forced to question his own identity. Does being the strongest mean ruling, or does it mean something more? Vegeta's strength becomes both a blessing and a curse. As he learns the true meaning of power, he begins to understand that being the strongest is not about defeating others. It's about protecting those he loves. But the universe is vast, and there are always new threats on the horizon. Planet Vegeta is destroyed. The mighty Scion race is on the brink of extinction, and without one of their greatest warriors, Goku, their fate is sealed. But what if Goku was never sent to Earth? What if the fate of the Scion race changed forever? Planet Vegeta exploding, the Scion race's last stand, with Goku's pod remaining on the planet as it disintegrates. Dramatic space background, anime 3D style with intense energy. Without Goku's arrival on Earth, the Scion race faces annihilation. Vegeta and Nappa, two of the last Scion warriors, fight valiantly but fall short. The loss of their most powerful fighter is the final blow. The galaxy watches as the mighty Scions fall. Though the Scion race is no more, their legacy is far from forgotten. A new champion rises in the form of an Earthling. Trained by Piccolo, this new warrior is powerful and determined, ready to protect the universe from threats far greater than even the Scions could ever imagine. After the fall of the Scion race, the universe is filled with new dangers. Alien threats arise, stronger than anything the Z fighters have encountered before. The new Earthling warrior must face these enemies, knowing that the fate of the universe lies in his hands. The legacy of Goku lives on, not through his power, but through the warriors he inspired. This new hero, a symbol of hope, continues the fight against the forces of darkness, leading Earth and the universe toward a brighter future. Vegeta, the prince of all Scions, has always been a warrior of unparalleled strength. But what if, instead of Goku, Vegeta was the one who first unlocked the power of a Super Saiyan god? What if the divine spark had chosen him? Through an intense battle and the desperate need to protect his world, Vegeta reaches a new height. His Scion pride and endless determination ignite the divine power within him, transforming him into the first Super Saiyan god. Upon unlocking his divine power, Vegeta's power surpasses anything Goku has ever achieved. The god of destruction, Beerus, senses this power and descends to Earth, ready to face the Scion Prince. The battle between Vegeta and Beerus begins, and it's unlike any fight Goku has ever had. While Vegeta revels in his newfound godly power, he soon realizes that such strength comes with a cost. The power is overwhelming, and it begins to consume him, threatening to destroy his own mind and body. Vegeta must learn to control it before it's too late. Now as the first Super Saiyan god, Vegeta becomes more than just a prince of the Scion race. He is a guardian of the universe, a force to be reckoned with. His strength is unmatched, but the weight of responsibility weighs heavily on him. On Namek, Goku faced Frieza, the tyrant who had destroyed his planet. But what if, in that moment of desperation, Goku never unlocked the power of a Super Saiyan? Would he still have been able to defeat the most powerful being in the universe? Without the Super Saiyan transformation, Goku would have faced Frieza as just a mere Saiyan warrior. His strength, while formidable, wouldn't be enough to defeat Frieza's power. Desperation would take hold of him as the battle rages on, and he'd have to rely on his other strengths, his cunning, his resilience, and the will to never give up. As the battle intensifies, Goku's friends, Piccolo, Vegeta, and the others, realize they must step in to help. With Goku weakened and Frieza relentless, it's up to his allies to stand beside him and turn the tide of battle. Without the Super Saiyan form, Goku's struggle against Frieza would be even more brutal. Frieza, sensing Goku's vulnerability, unleashes his full fury. Goku is pushed to his limits, but with his friends fighting beside him, he digs deep within himself to find a way to survive. Without the Super Saiyan transformation, Goku's journey would have been a long and painful one. He'd have to rely on his tactical brilliance and relentless spirit to defeat powerful foes. But would the outcome be the same? Could Goku ever achieve the strength needed to defeat enemies like Cell and Majin Buu without becoming a Super Saiyan? Imagine a world where Goku was never sent to Earth as a child. Instead, he was raised in the dark lands of Vegeta, trained to be a ruthless Saiyan warrior from birth. How different would the universe be if Goku's heart was filled with the same cold ambition as the other Saiyans? As Goku grew, his strength and ruthlessness grew with him. Unlike the Goku we know, this version craved power above all else. Instead of befriending Earth's inhabitants, he saw them as weak and began conquering planets to build his empire. Soon, the universe would tremble before his might. With his newfound power, Goku would see the Z fighters as nothing more than obstacles in his path. Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, and even his old friends would find themselves on the receiving end of Goku's wrath. What once was a team of heroes now stood no chance against the dark-hearted Saiyan they once called a friend. One of Goku's greatest acts of cruelty would be the destruction of Earth. With no moral compass, he would wipe out the very planet that raised him, showing no mercy to his past home. His dark reign would leave a scar on the universe that would never heal. Now, with the universe at his feet, Goku becomes a tyrant, ruling over countless planets with an iron fist. No longer the protector of the innocent, he is the feared emperor of a galactic empire. The few who dare to oppose him are crushed in battle, as the legend of the Dark Saiyan Goku spreads far and wide. Now, with the universe at his feet, Goku becomes a tyrant, ruling over countless planets with an iron fist. No longer the protector of the innocent, he is the feared emperor of a galactic empire. The few who dare to oppose him are crushed in battle, as the legend of the Dark Saiyan Goku spreads far and wide. Under the harsh training of the Red Ribbon Army, Goku was pushed beyond his limits. No longer the cheerful boy we know, he became cold, calculating, and ruthless. His Saiyan blood made him an unparalleled fighter, and the Red Ribbon Army saw him as the key to their global conquest. As Goku grew into his prime, he became the strongest warrior on Earth. Under his command, the Red Ribbon Army decimated any resistance. No longer interested in world peace, Goku's vision aligned with the Army's goal of total domination. The world fell under the shadow of the Red Ribbon, with Goku as its weapon of mass destruction. As the world falls into darkness, a group of resistance fighters, including the Z fighters, rise up against Goku's reign. But with his immense strength and the support of the Red Ribbon Army, the resistance has no hope of defeating the unstoppable force that Goku has become. Can anyone challenge Goku, or is his tyranny destined to rule the Earth forever? Despite his power, Goku's rule would not last forever. The Z fighters, with their unyielding determination, would find a way to defeat the Red Ribbon Army and reclaim Earth. Goku's fall from grace would be a bitter one, as he faces the very people he once fought alongside. A hero, turned tyrant, then brought to his knees by the strength of his friends. After the defeat of Frieza, Goku's true potential began to surface, and the universe began to take notice. What if, instead of returning to Earth as a simple Saiyan warrior, Goku took his place as the ruler of all? With his boundless power, Goku could easily seize control of the universe. But would he be ready for such a responsibility? As Goku steps into his new role as the king of the universe, his leadership style is unlike any the cosmos has ever seen. He isn't a ruler through fear, but through respect, inspiring loyalty from his subjects. With the combined strength of the Saiyans, the Namekians, and other alien species, Goku's rule is a force to be reckoned with. With the entire universe under his rule, Goku begins to reshape the very fabric of existence. No longer must planets fear destruction, nor do they fear the tyrants like Frieza. Goku's reign brings peace and stability, but at what cost? The Z-Fighters question whether a universe ruled by one man, even Goku, is truly the right path. As Goku's power grows, so does the temptation to use it. With no major enemies left to defeat, Goku begins to face the dark side of absolute power, isolation, boredom, and the responsibility of maintaining peace. The once cheerful warrior finds himself questioning whether peace is worth the sacrifices required to keep it. Despite Goku's efforts to maintain peace, the Z-Fighters, especially Vegeta and Gohan, begin to question his authority. Is it truly right for one man to hold so much power? As Goku's old friends challenge him for the first time in years, a dramatic battle for the fate of the universe begins. In the end, Goku faces a difficult decision: to relinquish his throne and let the universe continue on its unpredictable path, or to maintain control and risk the destruction of all he's built. Goku realizes that true strength is not in ruling, but in knowing when to step down. He makes the ultimate sacrifice, stepping away from the throne for the greater good of the universe. Vegeta, always the proud Saiyan Prince, has faced countless battles, but what if he surpassed all his limits? What if Vegeta unlocked a new transformation even beyond Super Saiyan Blue, a power so fierce it threatens to shake the very foundation of the universe? Vegeta's new form is beyond anything anyone has ever seen. His speed, strength, and power reach unimaginable heights, surpassing even Goku in certain areas. But with such overwhelming power, Vegeta begins to question whether he can control it. Will his pride be enough to handle the burden of this new transformation? Vegeta, now more powerful than ever, finds himself face to face with Goku, his greatest rival. This time, their battle isn't just for victory, but for supremacy. With Vegeta's new power threatening to eclipse everything, Goku must push his limits further than ever before to stand a chance. As the fight intensifies, Vegeta's power grows uncontrollably. Goku, recognizing the danger, tries to talk sense into his rival, but Vegeta's pride refuses to let him back down. In a moment of rage, Vegeta unleashes the full extent of his power, threatening to destroy the very planet they fight on. Vegeta's ultimate power comes at a great cost. While it grants him unmatched strength, it begins to take a toll on his body and mind. As he stands victorious over Goku, Vegeta's victory feels hollow, and he realizes that power, without balance, can be more of a curse than a blessing. After much reflection, Vegeta comes to a decision. He must let go of his ultimate power before it consumes him. Realizing that the true strength lies not in endless power, but in the ability to protect his loved ones and maintain his honor, Vegeta relinquishes his form, but not his pride. Frieza, the tyrant who has struck fear into the hearts of countless beings across the universe, is about to undergo the most unimaginable transformation. What if Frieza, instead of remaining the powerful alien emperor, became a Saiyan? What would happen if he unlocked the power of the Saiyan race? As Frieza's body begins to change, he feels the raw, untamed power of the Saiyan race coursing through him. His golden form shifts, becoming even more potent, more brutal. Now, Frieza is no longer just an emperor. He is a Saiyan warrior, capable of pushing the boundaries of his strength like never before. Frieza, now a Saiyan, stands against Goku. The two rivals, once enemies, now share a common power. But will Frieza's transformation be enough to defeat Goku, the most powerful Saiyan alive? The battle is fierce as Goku pushes his own limits, but Frieza's newfound abilities give him a new edge. As Frieza continues to fight, he begins to realize the limits of his new power. Although his Saiyan transformation grants him immense strength, it does not come without a cost. His body is unaccustomed to the Saiyan fighting style, and his arrogance continues to be his biggest flaw. Can Frieza overcome these weaknesses, or will they be his downfall? In the heat of battle, Frieza realizes that he must abandon his arrogance and learn to adapt to the Saiyan way of life. For the first time, he must learn the true meaning of fighting for the survival of his race. He pushes past his limits, accepting the Scion pride that he had always scorned. Frieza, now fully embracing his Scion power, enters his ultimate form. No longer the tyrant, he stands as a true warrior. In the final showdown with Goku, Frieza is not just fighting for dominance. He is fighting for honor, for survival. The battle escalates to an unimaginable scale, as both warriors reach the pinnacle of their power. In this alternate timeline, we explore what would happen if Vegeta was the first Saiyan to unlock the Super Saiyan God form. As the prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta has always struggled with the fact that Goku surpassed him. But what if it was Vegeta who achieved the divine power first? The balance of power in the Dragon Ball universe would shift dramatically. As Vegeta stands before the ancient ritual, he draws upon the power of his ancestors, tapping into the legendary power of the Super Saiyan God. The transformation is intense, as his Saiyan blood burns with divine energy. In a flash, Vegeta becomes the first to ascend to the power of a god. The universe trembles at the arrival of a new force. Vegeta's newfound power brings him face to face with Goku. No longer just rivals, the two Saiyan warriors now stand as equals. But Goku, never one to back down from a challenge, pushes his own limits to match Vegeta's godly power. The battle is fierce, as both warriors test their strength and resolve in an all-out clash. Vegeta's transformation comes with great consequences. While his power is undeniable, it comes at a cost. As the battle rages on, Vegeta begins to feel the toll of wielding such divine energy. His body is pushed to its limits, and the strain of maintaining his Super Saiyan God form becomes too much. Can Vegeta maintain control, or will the power consume him? As Vegeta struggles to maintain his godly form, a new threat emerges. A mysterious enemy, sensing the cosmic disturbance caused by Vegeta's transformation, arrives to challenge him. This new foe is powerful, perhaps even more dangerous than any opponent Vegeta has faced before. With his power on the verge of collapse, Vegeta must find a way to defeat this new adversary before it's too late. In the final battle, Vegeta faces his greatest challenge yet. With his godly form weakening, he must decide whether to continue pushing his limits or accept that his power has reached its peak. Will Vegeta's pride as a Saiyan push him to fight even harder, or will he learn to fight with wisdom and restraint? The fate of the universe may depend on this decision. In a world where Goku never meets Master Roshi, his path as a martial artist would be drastically different. Without the guidance of Roshi, Goku would still be a powerful fighter, but would he develop the discipline and wisdom that Roshi instilled in him? This new timeline is about to change the Dragon Ball universe forever. Without Master Roshi's wisdom, Goku's training becomes far more chaotic and unrefined. While his natural fighting instincts are sharp, he lacks the structure that would make him a true martial arts master. Goku struggles to balance his boundless energy and raw talent with the discipline required for real combat. Master Roshi taught Goku crucial techniques like the Kamehameha, the iconic move that would define his battles. Without Roshi's training, Goku never learns the Kamehameha wave. How will Goku face powerful foes like Piccolo and the Red Ribbon Army? Without the signature attack, he has to rely on pure physical strength and his untapped potential. Without Master Roshi's guidance, Goku's relationships with others might have turned out differently. Roshi's wisdom helped Goku grow not just as a fighter, but as a person. Would Goku still have met Krillin and formed their lifelong bond? Would he have still become friends with Bulma? And would he have found the strength to protect Earth? Without Roshi's teachings, Goku's first encounter with Piccolo is far more intense. With no Kamehameha to rely on, Goku uses sheer strength and his quick thinking to survive. However, the battle is much harder, and Goku is pushed to his limits. How will he defeat Piccolo without the aid of Roshi's powerful techniques? Despite not having Master Roshi's training, Goku still manages to protect Earth, but his journey is far more difficult. The absence of Roshi's influence changes Goku's character. He becomes a more reckless fighter, relying heavily on his instincts and power, but without the wisdom to control it. Can Goku truly become the hero the universe needs without the guidance of the Turtle Hermit? In this reality, Vegeta never experiences the change of heart that turned him into an ally of Goku and Earth's protector. Instead, he remains loyal to his Saiyan pride and continues his quest for dominance and power. As a result, he becomes an even more ruthless and dangerous enemy to the Z fighters. Without the influence of Goku's kindness and the lessons of his many battles, Vegeta's rivalry with Goku grows even more intense. Vegeta continues to see Goku as an inferior scion, and their battles become more personal. Their fights escalate as Vegeta refuses to accept Goku's strength, seeing it as a challenge to his pride and status. Without the influence of Earth's heroes, Vegeta's descent into darkness accelerates. He no longer has any restraints, and his desire to conquer the universe leads him to form alliances with the most dangerous villains in the universe. Frieza, the androids, and even Cell would see Vegeta as a potential ally to help them conquer Earth and beyond. As Vegeta's power grows and his alliances with the universe's most dangerous foes solidify, the Z fighters must come together to face an even more dangerous threat. Goku, unable to rely on Vegeta's help, struggles to overcome his powerful rival. The Z fighters prepare for an all-out war, knowing that Earth's survival now depends on their ability to defeat not just Vegeta, but his allies as well. The final showdown between Goku and Vegeta is a battle like no other. With Vegeta fully embracing his Saiyan pride and darkness, and Goku fighting to protect the Earth, their fight escalates to unimaginable levels. As the planet shakes under the force of their blows, both warriors are pushed to their limits. But the question remains, who will stand victorious, and what will the future hold for Earth? In this alternate future, Vegeta's legacy is one of destruction and chaos. His refusal to change and his constant thirst for power result in a universe that fears him. With Earth destroyed and the universe plunged into war, Vegeta's name becomes synonymous with terror. Goku, along with the remaining fighters, is left to carry on the fight, knowing that the Saiyan Prince's darkness will never truly be defeated. In this alternate timeline, Goku is not the cheerful, pure-hearted Saiyan we know. Instead, he was born with a ruthless nature, influenced by the violent tendencies of the Saiyan race. From the moment Goku lands on Earth, he begins his mission to dominate and conquer, showing no mercy to anyone who gets in his way. Instead of growing up with kindness and fighting for justice, this Goku seeks only power. As he grows stronger, he confronts the Z fighters, turning them into his first enemies. The once heroic figures now find themselves facing the dark side of the Saiyan warrior, with Goku showing no hesitation in using his immense power to crush them. Goku's ambition leads him to conquer more than just Earth. His lust for power pushes him to seek alliances with the most feared villains in the universe. Together with Frieza, Cell, and even Majin Buu, Goku creates a formidable empire of darkness, spreading terror and destruction across the galaxy. As Goku's evil influence grows, the Z fighters are pushed to the brink. They must set aside their differences and join forces, not just to defeat Goku, but to save the universe from his reign of terror. However, they quickly realize that Goku's strength far exceeds anything they have encountered before. The final battle between Goku and the Z fighters is nothing short of catastrophic. Goku's dark power has reached unimaginable levels, and the Z fighters struggle to keep up. With Earth on the verge of destruction, Goku must be stopped. But is it possible to defeat a Saiyan who has embraced the dark side of his power? In the aftermath of the final battle, the universe is left broken and scarred by Goku's reign of terror. The Z fighters, while victorious, are left to rebuild their world and deal with the consequences of Goku's evil. Goku's legacy is one of fear, and his name is forever synonymous with the darkest side of the Saiyan race. In this alternate timeline, the Super Saiyan God transformation does not go to Goku. Instead, Vegeta, with his unwavering pride and determination, unlocks the power of the Super Saiyan God first. With his new divine power, Vegeta becomes an unstoppable force, and his transformation changes the course of history. Now possessing godly power, Vegeta quickly becomes the most powerful Saiyan in the universe. His combat abilities are unmatched, and even powerful foes like Frieza and Cell are no match for him. His pride in his new strength makes him even more dangerous and unpredictable. Vegeta's new power makes him a force to be reckoned with, but it also begins to create a rift between him and the Z fighters. Goku, who once sought to surpass Vegeta, is now forced to step back as Vegeta's godly power leaves him in the dust. The once fierce rivalry between them now turns into a complex relationship of admiration and tension. With his newfound strength, Vegeta takes on a new role as the protector of Earth. But this comes with its own set of challenges. As the new guardian of the planet, Vegeta must face threats on a cosmic scale. His divine power is put to the test when an ancient evil awakens, one that even Vegeta might not be able to defeat alone. As an ancient cosmic evil arises, Vegeta is forced to use every ounce of his divine power to protect Earth. The battle is fierce and destructive, with the fate of the universe hanging in the balance. Even with his overwhelming power, Vegeta begins to realize that to truly protect Earth, he must learn to work with others. After the battle is won, Vegeta reflects on his journey. His transformation into the Super Saiyan God has not only made him the strongest, but has also changed him. He now understands the value of teamwork and the importance of protecting the ones he loves. His legacy as the first Super Saiyan God will forever be remembered as the moment when a Saiyan finally embraced true heroism.